Board of Adjustment. Red Bank Zoning Board of Adjustment will come to order this 19th day of October. The time is 6:35. Roll call.
Ann Torrey,
Here.
Raymond Mass,
Here.
Eileen Hogan,
Here.
Van Earl, Sharon Lee, Vincent Lay, Paul Cagnon.
Here.
Anna Cruz,
Here.
Amanda Doremus,
Here.
Eugene Horowitz,
Here.
Chris Havens.
Here. Adequate notice of this meeting has been posted at Borough Hall, filed with the Borough Clerk and mailed to the Asbury Park Press, the River Times, and the Star Ledger. This meeting is being tape recorded, and in the event the applicant uses a service of a court reporter to transcribe the tapes, the board requires a copy of the transcript. We will break at about 8 p.m. for deliberation of testimony heard this far in the conference room on the first floor. Public is invited to attend. However, discussion between board members and the public is not permitted at that time. No new cases will be heard after 9 p.m. Red Bank Zoning Board of Adjustment has maintained a policy cutoff hour of 9:30 for its hearings. Any applicants not heard this evening will be carried over to the next scheduled meeting. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. The administrative matters, meeting minutes.
I'll move to approve those. I'll second.
Ann Torrey,
Yeah, I'll move that.
Eileen Hogan, there. Paul Cagnon,
Yes.
Anna Cruz,
Yes.
and Eugene Horowitz.
Yes. Okay, we have resolution of approval, 211 River Street.
Mr. Chairman, this was the Timothy Shea application, and this was for demolition of an existing single-family home, construction of a new single-family home with attached garage and installation of an in-ground pool. And the conditions of note were compliance with Shauna's review memorandum, compliance with affordable housing rules, regulations, contributions, confirmation that the plans will include a note that the basement shall not contain bedroom. We're going to confirm a inclusion of a note confirming that no parking variance is required. And what we talked about is we're going to clarify the number of stories. There was an incorrect element on the architectural chart that said the proposal would be 3.5 stories. That's not the case. And we're going to have confirmation that there'll be no further expansion or intensification of the structure without further approval of the Red Bank Zoning Board. And with your permission, I think I should just insert a finding that there's a very steep slope and hill on the property, which basically has an impact on the overall design. So, Mr. Chairman, if that's the pleasure of the board, that can be adopted as modified, or we can do anything else that the board wants to do.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll move it.
Second.
A second. Oops.
Oh, I have to turn off.
Ann Torrey,
Yes.
Eileen Hogan,
Yes.
Anna Cruz,
Yes.
Eugene Horowitz.
Abstain. Okay, we have new business, 78 Bridge Avenue, I believe is being carried to November. Hold on. Why wasn't I called on for that one?
Because you have to stay with the rest.
I abstained, but so did you, Jane, right?
You abstained on the resolution.
You abstained, so I don't have to do anything on that, Kevin?
So, yeah, so you did not vote, correct? You
I
abstained.
abstained.
So yes, you would not call on the, I mean, you can make comments on it, but
No.
yeah, good catch.
I just wasn't sure why.
Good line.
Okay, we have 78 Bridge Avenue that's being carried to November 2nd.
Yes, Mr. Shauna, that's the date
For
AOC.
Yes,
Okay, and just for the record, this application has been carried a number of occasions, and just for the record, because of that, Shauna did, in my opinion, rightfully require the applicant to renotice, because we never want the public to forget about an application per se. And so this is gonna be carried to November 2nd, 2023, without the need for any further public notice. And Shauna, for the record, I believe the applicant's representative attorney consented to extend the time frame within which the board has to act.
Yes.
So I guess, Mr. Chairman, just for the record, we should have a motion to carry 78 Bridge Avenue application, AOZ, American Opportunity Zone, to November 2nd, 2023, without the need for any further public notice.
I'll make that motion.
You got a second?
Second.
And you can just do it all in favor.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Okay, next one we have is 22 Wallace Street.
Okay, and good evening, Mr. Brodsky. As the applicant's team comes forward, so to speak, we'll just do a couple of preliminary procedural things. First up, we're going to swear in Shauna Ebanks, PP, AICP. She is our Director of Community Development, and for the record, an all-around awesome person. So against that backdrop, Shauna, do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be, to the extent you provide any, will be the truth to the best of your knowledge, to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask here, is there anyone here who had any questions or comments or concerns regarding the sufficiency of the notice they received for tonight's application? Don't see any, and for the record, the board secretary in my office reviewed the notice and found everything to be in order, so it'd be my humble opinion that we have jurisdiction to proceed tonight, and we're gonna mark into the record what we as a board have before us. So A1 is the application package. A2 is the development permit application and denial of development permit. A3 is the intent to proceed, and that's dated September 6, 2023. A4 is the plot plan, and it's prepared by Think Design Architecture, 3 sheets dated January 3rd, 2023, revised July 17th, 2023. And we're going to mark as A5 the review memorandum from Shauna Ebanks, and that's dated October 18th, 2023. Shauna, I think that's the gist of what we have. This is Rick Brodsky. Rick is a local attorney. Rick, I think this might be your first appearance, but some of our newly consolidated or newly sworn in board members. And Rick, after you make your appearance, enter your appearance, if you wouldn't, for the record, either you or you can have your client, just identify who the principals are of this entity, Wallace 22 LLC, just so we as a board can do our little internal conflict check.
Thanks, Kevin. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Rick Brodsky on behalf of the applicant, Wallace 22 LLC. The principal of Wallace 22 LLC is John Najmy, N-A-J-M-Y, who's seated behind me. And I also had with me this evening the project architect, Frank Ponderella from Think Design.
Okay, so just what we're going to do is, and we do this just because when you hear the application is 22 Wallace LLC, we'd like to hear the principals in case you're going to say, oh, that's my cousin, or that's my business partner, or something like that. So now we've heard John Najmy, the name, and does that create any conflicts or raise any questions about conflicts? Seeing none? Okay, we're good to go.
Great, thanks, Kevin. Mr. Chair, members of the board, the application before you this evening pertains to the property that's located at 22 Wallace Street. That's the applicant's name, Wallace 22. The application seeks permission and approvals to replace a garage that existed on this property for many years. Just by way of a little background, the property primary building on the property is a 4-family, multifamily property, residential. There has existed for a very long time a 5-car garage at the rear of the subject property that's used for the building. the applicant had applied for and obtained permits to renovate that garage to the rear. It was in bad shape. It was listing, it was just not a good situation. Applicant went in, applied for the permits to renovate it, got the permits, started the renovation. In the middle of the renovation, learned that, lo and behold, there were actually no footings to this garage that had been built whenever. And so he notified the town and sought permits and said, hey, I want to do this the right way. I want to put in footings to replace or restore this garage. And as a result, it was flagged as well, okay. We think you now have to go to the board because it's no longer a renovation, it's you're building new, even though he was still renovating. Had to put the footings in before he renovated. Hence, we come to you this evening, and that's how we got here. Most people probably would have just done it, and no one would have known, but doesn't work that way. So
was the old garage kind of taken down?
yeah, it was
Okay.
taken down because that was the plan. Part of it, he was replacing the roof, he was replacing a couple of the walls, some of it was remaining. And then when he got to that section that he found that there were no footings, he kind of stopped, went down for the permits, revised permits to install the footings, and then that's when it was flagged as, okay, well, now might be a replacement. I think that was the analysis from the code enforcement officer or the inspector. And so that's why we're here. And so that existing garage was 1,025 square feet. And in the zone, the maximum size permitted is 500 square feet. What's going there is the same 1,025 square feet and what has been. Similarly, with regards to the setbacks, as you see from the plan, the location of the garage is at the very rear of the property, on the rear property line, and kind of comes out to the side property lines as well. So there are existing setback encroachments, which are being matched identically with what the new garage will be. So that's what brings us here. No increase to the size of the garage that was there, no change in the location. The design is going to be brand new, but the same as what was there. And that's where we're at. I have the architect here who can walk the board through what's proposed for the new garage building.
So the same height that it was before also?
Same height, same size, same location, same
Amount of cars? Is it 5
same
car?
amount of cars, same everything.
Is it used by the tenants? It's for the tenants use?
Yeah. That's right. And so it hadn't been used by the tenants most recently because John was concerned with the structural integrity of it. So he had planned for it to be done by now, but then this little hitch came along. And Shauna, you right?
Yes, I was there, yeah.
Right, the permits were issued, everything was done.
I can provide just some more background on it. So I did issue the development permit approval for them to rehab the garage. It was presented that it was just minor, repairs just for upkeep. However, as Rick said, as they kept doing work, turns out the whole thing needs to come down because of safety issues and because of the lack of footing. And so myself and the construction code official did go out there. And by the time we went out there, it was just a hole in the ground. So that they had to now dig new foundation. Because of that, the construction code official and myself, we both agreed this is now a new structure. And therefore now the applicant has to come back before the board because of the size and just and the location of where it is. Right now, the rear of the garage, well, the old garage abuts a parking lot, and the side abuts another residential property, but it's another multifamily residential property, and it's also next to an oversized garage. And that garage is actually more non-conforming because it's actually 2 stories at that point. So here we are, they're only here because the entire structure was deemed unsafe at the time when myself and the construction code official went out.
And then Sean, if I could just say, for the record, and you and Rick can confirm, just so the board members know, this is a use variance application because either combination of the garage is not a permitted accessory use at this site in the CCD2 zone, and or the pre-existing non-conforming four-family use, which is not permitted. And then remember that the special rules for our new friends, for a use variance application, only 7 people will vote, and the applicant needs 5 affirmative yes votes. So unlike other scenarios where majority wins, you need 5 affirmative yes votes. You understand that, Rick, obviously? Good.
So the nature of the construction triggers.
You gotta turn the mic on.
So the nature of the reconstruction triggers a use variance.
Yes,
Interesting. Is the setbacks?
and it's a very complicated
Yeah.
use variant, I mean, because it seems it's just a garage, but given the nature of the four-family use.
In the zone, yeah, no, I understand the setbacks on the garage that are existing are similar to the setbacks on the other garages on the block.
I think Mr. Brodsky will elicit some testimony in that regard.
Gotcha.
Good question.
Okay, so I'll have Mr. Martorella come forward and the board.
Okay.
Plans.
Rick, why don't you grab the other mic?
All right, good evening. If you could just state your name, please,
Frank Martorella, third,
and spell Martorella.
Martorella.
Okay, and business address?
Maple Avenue, Bank, New Jersey.
Okay, and good evening and welcome. Do you swear that the information and testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the best of your knowledge, to help you God? Okay, and just for the record, you're testifying in your capacity as a licensed architect? Thank you.
Okay, Frank, if you would, just real brief for the record, background of your, give the board the benefit of your background and experiences as an architect.
Registered architect in a couple of states, but registered in New Jersey since I believe 2011. I got an office nearby and worked on several projects, lots of projects in many different townships throughout Jersey over the course of my years being a registered architect in New Jersey.
Great, thank you.
All right, Frank, if you would, just referring to your plans, just walk the board through the property as it exists and then what's proposed as part of the application.
Yeah, so
Could you move the mic a little closer to you? Make sure we get this.
So when I visited the building, we took a look at it. It was again a 5-car garage oversized. It was in very poor capacity. There was several cracks. It was leaning. Probably was in truth somewhat unstable at that time. John and I discussed his options, and we deemed that we would be able to renovate it by doing, taking down some of the walls, removing the roof, and reconstructing it. But again, one thing that John was adamant about was putting it back in the exact same size. So we put together some drawings and construction documents which outline that, and noted in the drawings, or depicted in the drawings, I should say, is exactly that intention, is to remove the portions of the garage that needed to be removed and replaced, and keep certain portions of the building that we thought could remain at the time. And then reconstruct those areas, put the garage back in the exact same size, location, and height.
Frank, would you, one of the board members had asked a question, and I see from your site plan that's on your plans. Indeed, on either side of this property are other oversized garages, which are, you know, I guess to the, what is it, to the west is that two-story garage, which abuts our property line. And then on the east side, there's another two-story frame garage that also abuts our property line. And so, the existing garage is nothing new to the area, nothing new to the property, same as what was there previously.
Yeah, this garage certainly seemed consistent with size and characteristics of the garages on the adjacent properties.
And then, in terms of what it's gonna look like, pretty standard, material wise and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it'll look like most detached garages. The intention was during the reconstruction process to put it back as close as possible to what was there, meaning, again, not only in size and shape and location, but in terms of finished materials as well. So the front of the garage had some horizontal siding on it, and that was the intention, to put back the same material so that it can stay in characteristic with what was there previously.
And had John not encountered any problems with the structural deficiencies in the garage, that is the lack of footings, what have you, he would have, pursuant to the permit that was issued, completed the renovation to the existing garage as it was there today, and wouldn't have had to gone through all of this, right? As a result, instead, he's doing the right thing to put in the footings, and now, you know, it kind of kicked in the process that we're going through.
Okay, any questions from the board for this witness?
Yeah, whenever we have a garage project, especially a, freestanding, we're concerned about whether it has light, electricity and plumbing and all that, and heat, because we do not want to see it suddenly turned into a living space. So that's usually a condition of our approval, should we grant it. Is that something you're comfortable with, or Mr.?
As the architect, I would be comfortable with it. There is no plumbing proposed, no plumbing fixtures proposed in there. There is power.
Right, of course it would be.
Garage doors, lighting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I certainly, as the architect.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
Yes.
Anybody?
Oh, sorry.
No.
Is the lighting in the same spot as it was to?
I wouldn't say it's in the exact same spot. I think that there was insufficient lighting within the structure at the time, and we are now providing additional lighting to make it a little bit more sufficient and adequate for people to have proper lighting. But to clarify that, in each of the garages, the garage, when it would be completed, is broken into 3 different bays. A bay for 2 cars, a bay for 2 cars, and a third bay for 1 car. There's only 2 lights in each garage bay. It's a 12 by 48 inch light. So there'd be 2 12-inch by 48 LED lights in there. So it's a little bit more than what was there, but it's not an overabundance.
You mean in the inside of the garage?
Yes, oh, yes, on the inside, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was talking about the outside.
Okay, that makes sense. No, we don't have any lighting proposed on the outside of the garage. I believe there's exterior lighting on the main structure, which shines down into the parking lot and the garage doors.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Okay, any questions from the public? I don't see any. Any comments from the board?
Can I just ask Mr. Just for the resolution, in terms of the old garage was, the location on the lot was technically what? Middle, rear of the property, you said?
Very rear of the property.
And that's gonna be the same?
Correct.
And then, number of stories with the old garage?
1.
And new garage? And then just for the record, height,
15 foot existing, and I believe 15 feet.
15 for the old,
15, I'm sorry.
16 for the old and the new. And then obviously we said no living space before and no living space now. And utilities we had, and the old garage was 5 bays and this one is 5 bays as well. Thank you.
Okay, any comments from the board on this application? Any comments from the public? I don't see any. Anybody like make a motion to approve or deny this application?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, and if, Mr. Chairman, if I may, just
Your thing.
recite some potential conditions if you all are okay with it. Obviously compliance with all the promises, commitments and representations that the development team made tonight, compliance with any affordable housing rules, regulations and contributions, compliance with Shauna's review memorandum, getting any necessary permits, getting any necessary outside approvals with the caveat that if the application materially changes as a result of that outside approval, they need to come back for further approval, amended approval. Unless Shauna deems otherwise, grading and drainage details to be worked out with the borough or board engineer. We have a 24-month time frame for which building permits are to be obtained within the adoption of the resolution. I think, Anne, you had pointed out that, and Shauna's memo points out, the garage is not to be utilized as living space. And with the utilities, electric, yes, but no plumbing, no water, no sewer, no adverse light spillover, exterior, or no exterior lighting proposed for the new garage. I think that was it. Mr. Brodsky, are you okay with those potential conditions? And Mr. Motioner and Madam Seconder, are those okay to you all?
Yes. Mhm.
Yes.
Tori,
Yes.
Raymond Mass,
Yes.
Eileen Hogan,
Yes.
Paul Cagnon,
Yes.
Anna Cruz,
Yes.
Amanda Doremus,
Yes.
and Eugene Horowitz.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, good luck. Thank you. Motion to adjourn. Second.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
That was like Michael P.